like something that happened in my presence, I could not be just like, okay, whatever, because that's a life, and that person I knew, and it's a person that somehow I liked. Somehow she told me her dreams. We got very close. You can imagine if you're taking a 26-hour bus and you 4 days together, you're gonna know a lot about each other. So it drained me personally, night and day. It ate me inside. I could not sleep. When I was arrested for the robbery in Alberton, a lot of people, even cops at jail, when I told them to call Mr. Boisons, because I told people to call Mr. Boisons, and everyone said no, they will find you if they find you. If they want you, they'll get you. And certain people were like, just get a lawyer and get the case requisitioned and get bail and go out. And the first thing I did when I got a phone call, I called Mr. Boisons. So the reason why I did that is because I felt that that's not me. And I wanted to do right where I did wrong. And I wanted to take responsibility, if that's the word. And I wanted to give the people that got hurt in the process also that thing, could see, okay, he's in jail and we've got justice, if that's what they want.
Were you did it cross your mind, or were you worried that, if you didn't hand yourself or didn't bring yourself to Boison's attention, because you were in custody, as you said, were you fearful that something like this might happen again?
Not really. I think all these incidents happened. Yes, they happened 3 times differently, but I feel also that I'm not somebody that you should worry about leaving a woman in one room with me that I would rape her. And I feel that my rapes, especially the rape, because the murder, I feel that it was just a pure, we fight over a knife, somebody gets stabbed in the process, and it was not, if I wanted to stab her, I could have killed her in Durban, I could have killed her the first night we got to Cape Town. So that was not my intentions at all. If I wanted to kill her, I could have got her into Mthatha, where there's much less people, and got her into a bush B&B there, killed her there. So my intentions was never to kill anyone. My intentions were, with her, was straightforward. I liked her, and things got twisted whenever they got twisted, and we had a fight. The knife got out of hand. She got stabbed. I got stabbed in the process. I tried to stop it, and there's no one in this world with 2 rape cases, and there's a knife involved, and I'm wanted by cops. If I went to the cops and said we had a fight, she got stabbed in the process, no one was gonna believe me. So that's the first thing, because I thought of that. That was the first thing to do, obviously, wake up the owners of the B&B and let them come, and then call the cops and get an ambulance there. But I thought if I do that, it's like me saying, okay, I did the murder. You understand? That is my reason of running from that point. But not taking this away, I also feel that I am responsible for her death. Because if I did not bring the knife, she would not be dead. If I did not ask her to come, she would not be dead. So,
because for me, what's kind of striking is that, you have the 2 rapes that occur a week or 2 apart, and the murder was how long after that? Also about what?
A week apart.
It's as if all of a sudden something snapped and the whole ball game has changed, where it was purely in the past, financial conning, getting money, fraud, etc. It's as if it had gone on to the next level. And
one thing I also feel like, I read the papers and I feel like they're talking about somebody else, not me. I look at these charges and I don't think it's me. I really don't think it's me. That's why I pleaded guilty. And to the murder case, I can't plead guilty to murdering her because I did not intentionally want to kill her. But I can plead guilty on the fact of bringing a knife into her presence. That I can plead guilty. And how she got stabbed, I don't know. But I do, if I have to plead guilty in any regard there, I'll plead guilty that I did bring the knife into the room and we had a fight that she got stabbed. To show that, how can I say it? To show that I don't feel that I was right.
That you're responsible for a death, but it not as a result of an intentional thing that you started out to.
I'm responsible for her death, yes, that's 100% correct. I'm not responsible for killing her. I did not kill her. If I'm sure if I wanted to kill her, I could have. I'm not a stupid person. I could have done it in a way that the cops wouldn't even know it was me. The rapes happened in a way that I did not know I was doing rape until I left the premises. Because if I knew I was doing rape, I could have covered myself up by using certain methods so that my fingerprints were not there, and etc. So it only became known to me that I did rape when I left. So that's the way I feel about the 3 incidents.
Okay. I don't know, as I said, it's a short time. Is there anything else that you want to convey to me would help me get a better picture of who you are and how things developed into these crimes that you were now charged with, etc.? Or you kind of think that for what we've communicated, it kind of gives me a reasonable understanding?
I think that will depend on the fact that if I had to ask you that question and you had to tell me what you think of me, if you told me that this is what you think of me, then I would be able to tell you this is who I am, and you're wrong on that, you're right on that, you understand? But I can't just say that.
It's
just assume something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think in a nutshell, I see you, a guy who obviously had lots of knocks in life from an early age, and had to sort of come up with ways to survive with what skills you had. And as a result of what you saw and the people you came into contact with, you realized that there are certain ways that you can get people to, as you said, give you money. And it started small, and then as you grow older and came into contact with various people, you realize, but hang on, there's more sophisticated ways or better ways to do these more effectively. And you escalated into this one kind of modus operandi, which was the luring of ladies and then taking their laptops in various forms or their valuables. And it kind of just escalated to even more complex and complicated ways. Whether you knew it was going to end up as it did with the 2 rapes, etc., I mean, nobody can know that for sure except yourself. And things just kind of got escalated to the point where they did. I mean, whether the death of that lady was an intentional or not intentional, I'm not a mind reader. I can't, I can't go beyond what you said. It does look like things hit a turning point, and then all of a sudden you had all of these new element to what you were doing, or the envelope went further, whether you intentionally pushed the envelope further, or whether that's just how things developed in the process of these crimes. I don't know. Again, I'm not a mind reader, but it looks like there was some turning point. Whether you wanted it to go there or not, I don't know. But like there was a turning point, and either consciously or unconsciously, things escalated to a totally different level, which you perhaps weren't happy with, which is why, as you say, you basically did want to turn yourself in, and ultimately, after you picked up for the other case, called Boyson and said, please, here I am, come get me. Which we obviously appreciate. Thank you for doing that. And thank you, obviously, as I said in the beginning, thank you for pleading guilty. It saves a lot of pain and suffering for these ladies to come and have to obviously go through a court case. So. H, anything else you wanna ask? Anything else you wanna say or ask? Okay. Well, I am in Durban till Friday, so if there's something else that, for some reason, you wanted to speak to me again, or something that pops into your mind that you wanted to discuss with me, that you don't want to discuss with Captain Eva, I am here till Friday, and it's not a problem to...
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure, obviously, yes.
Based on that Cape Town case, it's obviously probably my next hurdle in life after pleading guilty here. How can one not give justice, because life is a life, and to her family, and I know that she was buried apparently last week, Sunday. I do not want to put anyone through any suffering. I think you can acknowledge, or you can understand, or you can see by my actions.
Yeah.
But I did not intentionally kill her. That's my song. If you believe it or not, if whoever believes it or not, that's my story. And wherever she is at, be it heaven or wherever, she knows that I never wanted to kill her. But at the end of the day, I do not want to go sit in a courtroom and justify that I did not want to kill her. If it's gonna make this thing, because I do not really care about I never had a life. So if I go to jail forever, if I go to jail for 50 years, a million years, I don't care. If I have to plead guilty to murder that I feel that I never did intentionally, and save the family and give the family some, how can I say, not, I don't know, maybe closure or comfort or whatever. I think I'm more willing to do that, not even caring about my personal care, because as I said, I'm the one who made her leave Johannesburg, and I'm the one who made her get to Cape Town, and I'm the one who brought in the knife. If those elements were not there, she would probably be walking in the streets right now.
Yeah, look, obviously how they're going to deal with that. Look, the case is not going to go away. I mean, I don't think you expected it would, just because of these cases up here that you've pled guilty to. Obviously, the prosecutors will usually try to, if you're prepared to plead guilty, there's a bit more room to negotiate with them what the charge might be, into what you plead guilty with, and it'll really depend on that the director of public prosecutions. Will they accept a plea on this or that, versus another thing? So I can't promise you what they will accept. It's not within my hands. But I hear what you're saying, that you're almost prepared to plead guilty to murder, although you don't feel it was murder, if it will save the family, the suffering of having to go through this trial and everything's out in the media again, etc. And again, I thank you for that and respect that. But that obviously is something that would have to be negotiated between the lawyer that represents you and the DPP's office, and put on the table what you say you're prepared to admit to, and see what the DPP's office comes back and does with that. Also depends, what your sentence is here. If I'm just saying if you get a life sentence for any one of these two current charges, well, life, technically speaking, is till you die. So whether you get on top of that a 10-year charge or a 15-year charge, they all run at the same time. So in reality, if you get a life sentence for any one of these cases up here, anything else that gets added on, whether it be all these little fraud charges or theft charges in between with these other cases, I mean, that's just, they run at the same time. It makes no difference ultimately. What would be the difference, I imagine, to you is what label hangs over my head. Do I get labeled as being a murderer or a manslaughter or a culpable homicide as the possible alternatives to a murder? But as I said, I mean, it's best to negotiate that with your lawyer, and then we'll put it to the prosecution from Cape Town.
That's my question.
All right. And again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. As that I am here till Friday. If there's something else that crops up that you want to rehash, go over, discuss, mention, even then, if once I come back to Pretoria, I can always come back down.
There's There's one more question
Yeah,
I'd like
sure.
to ask.
Far away.
My state attorney
Yes.
told the court today, after digging into my past and whatever, he feels that there's a contribution or whatever mentally that the rapes I've been through has on the rapes that I've committed. And I'm sitting in a position where I feel I want this thing to pass as soon as possible.
Mm.
But I also, as a human being, want to be one day free.
Mm.
I think that's, despite the fact that I feel guilty and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel that I'm wrong.
Sure.
You know. Do you feel, as a psychologist or whatever your profession is, do you feel that maybe more as an advice or more as just a tip, I would like you to tell me, do you think that that is a route that we should get a report from one, or do you think that's just a waste of time and I deservedly should just take my sentence and do my time?
Usually what the courts, and I've testified in quite a lot of sentencing cases of a rape nature, we always say that everything that we do in life is a result of what's happened to us leading up to that point in time, which is true. The good, the bad, all make up who we are and how we see the world and how we react to the world, whether it be a criminal behavior or a non-criminal behavior. The ultimate question before the court would be, but has what you've gone through been different to what thousands of other people have gone through who have not then gone over and hurt another human being as a result? So yes, everything's happened to you plays a role in your life. Would it make a reason for the court to give you a lesser sentence? I don't necessarily think so, because you still were consciously decided to do what you did. You had the power to stop your behavior or not to stop your behavior, etc. Well, I think the best step you've done for yourself so far is to plead guilty, because my experience is that the courts automatically will give you lesser sentence than if you'd gone to a trial and anyway been found guilty. So that is probably the biggest brushstroke that you've done to get yourself the possibility of a lesser sentence than any psychologist's report, because of the fact you are found criminally responsible for what you've done, meaning that you had the mental capacity to know what you were doing and to do it or not do it. Otherwise, the court couldn't have found you guilty if they felt that you were not criminally responsible for your behaviors. I can't say to you don't get a psychologist report or do get a psychologist report. The question, as I said, the question usually comes back to, well, there's been thousands of other people who've maybe even experienced worse things than you had, or 10 times more of what you'd experienced as a child, but haven't harmed anybody. So it's not a direct cause and effect. If you follow my line of argument, your lawyer has to ultimately follow what you say. They advise you, but ultimately you're the client. And if you say, look, drop the report, let me start serving my sentence and not delay the whole process by 2 or 3 months to get the necessary psychologist report, which the prosecution would have the right to challenge in court in some way or another. And then they might ask me to assist and give them advice, etc., or to also compile a report. Ultimately, it's, if you are going to get a sentence of a couple of years or more, 10, 15, however, 20, over many years, waiting a month extra isn't a big thing in the greater scheme of things. You obviously don't start serving that sentence until everything's finalized. So if you postpone this matter for 3 months while you get a psychologist report, your sentence then only starts once you're given it. You don't get time due, as they talk about in the United States, for the time you're now currently sitting in court, in prison. So I don't know if I've answered your question. I think hopefully I've just given you different perspectives on that question. I would be hesitant to say to you, don't go with it, but if you just want to get things over finalized, I don't know how much of a difference it'll make in the end. Ultimately, the court has to decide that. So I can't, that's why I'm hesitant to say do it, don't do it. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's answering the question, but that's perhaps the best way I could try and answer it. Anything else?
No, thanks.
All right. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate that you were prepared to speak to us and be open with us with what's happened in your past, but also with these crimes. And as I said, I am around till Friday, and if needs be, I can always come back from Pretoria back down here again at a later stage if it was necessary. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so it's now just about 3:45, and that's it. All right. Sorry, I took you a lot longer than I think they were expecting. I was going to keep you, but I'd rather do a thorough job than a not thorough job.